All right, so this one is one very passionate about. It's about insurance. And if you've been here before, you know that I think that insurance is the one of the things that can drastically increase our income if we can figure out how to approach it.
Well, just take a look at this receipt from a recent Uber ride I took. It cost just about $28 for just under 4 miles, and that was before the tip. Uber says more than 30% of that ride and the rides you take in California go to pay directly for insurance.
So Uber has been on a campaign. They've been doing it for a while. They noted that Uber has to pay more in insurance compared to anyone out there.
The rideshare giant says that's simply too expensive and hurts everyday passengers and even drivers. And now they hope to bring awareness of the issue to you and to state leaders.
Join our fight to protect your access to affordable rides.
You're looking at Uber's brand new $1 million ad campaign set to appear on social media and digital platforms in 4 states, including California.
Everything is getting more expensive.
In the Golden State specifically, the campaign aims to spread awareness and express concerns over what Uber describes as high insurance costs it has to pay in California.
Uber even told some drivers in California that if you're willing to get your own commercial insurance, we will pay you more. And if I had that option, I would jump on that option. I've already done the math. Even if you have to pay $800 for commercial insurance and they pay you $1 more per ride because you have your own commercial insurance, once you drive 800 miles for the month, the rest you own is profit, right? Of course, you hope you don't get into an accident, but even if you do, it's just you have insurance, you'll be fine. If the problem is that the states are mandating how much insurance we have to have. And when you have state mandates like that, insurance companies can say, okay, you have to have this insurance. We're going to charge you whatever we want, right? So we need some more, we need the government to strip some of that regulation or to give us the ability to go and have our own commercial insurance. That's really what needs to happen. And if we can get the conversation to move in that direction, I'm for that. So this is an example of when the enemy of my enemy is my friend, right? I'm for this, and I've been here for a very long time. I've been talking about these insurance things ever since Uber and Lyft started becoming more transparent about the percentage breakdowns when you guys were calling me shills. But if we can get this moving forward, this is a way that it could impact our income in a way that's favorable. And passengers might pay less. Might. Of course, there are ways Uber can screw us over in the trade-off, right? They could say, all right, drivers, you go out there, you get your own commercial insurance, and here's what we're going to do. We're going to make the ride so cheap for passengers that you're not going to be able to afford your commercial insurance. Ha, 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 ha. That's something they could do, right? And it sounds crazy if you're new here, but Uber has been known to do things like that. So yeah, there are ways that Uber could still take advantage of us with this fight. But I think that if we jump on board of this fight, we can fight for the land that makes sense for us, right? So I'm approving of this so far.
Cost Uber feels it has no choice but to pass down to passengers.
I saw the price breakdown and I was shocked. Insurance has been taking more and more.
Insurance costs have gone up significantly, and that is obviously to the detriment of the rider that must pay for it ultimately.
Adam.
And I called this, right? I was tussling with drivers. I said, why are you guys still blaming Uber for the insurance? Like they would look at, oh, I only get 30%. Uber is taking the rest. No, be specific. You only get 30%. Insurance is taking 20% and Uber is taking the rest. Like, yes, we can still fight Uber for their rest. But if you want accurate results, we're going to have to assign accurate blame. We can't just blame Uber for the insurance costs. Some of that is mandated. Some of that is because they are forced to do so. So like, I've been fighting for this transparency for so long, and people were like, okay, once you get this transparency, what happens next? Like it just gives us something to work with. And now that we've had that transparency, we have something to work with. So I'm super excited if you can't tell about this.
Blenek is Uber's Senior Director for Policy and Communications in the United States and Canada. He says he recognizes insurance is necessary under the law to cover accidents, but he adds mandates in California have resulted in rideshare coverage costs coming out to approximately 30 times higher for rideshare companies like Uber than personal vehicles.
That's insane. And even if you compare the commercial insurance that Uber is forced to pay, it's still significantly more than the commercial insurance other companies have to pay.
and 10 times higher for Uber than taxis. To accommodate for that, Uber says in cities like Los Angeles, up to 45% of a rider's fare could go to insurance costs.
I don't like the word could here, doing a lot of heavy lifting, but that's an insane stat.
While in other metro areas like Washington, D.C., where fewer regulations are in place, just 5% of the average ride goes to insurance. Uber says that means in D.C., overall, cheaper rides. The company also notes leaders...
See, and that's how they can take advantage of us, where they're saying, hey, we offer cheaper rides because insurance is cheaper, instead of, hey, we pay drivers better because insurance is cheaper. You know, so we have to get our own voice in this battle. It can't just be Uber versus government. It needs to be Uber versus driver versus government versus passenger. That's what it really needs to be.
In other states like Arizona have already taken action to lower such costs. They want to see California do the same.
You can have very robust coverage, which is, we think, a rightful one, without burdening the system unnecessarily and creating costs that all consumers then have to pay.
Uber alleges many personal injury attorneys know about Uber's high insurance requirements and have taken advantage of the situation by aggressively targeting rideshare companies with frivolous claims, inflated medical bills, and excessive settlements. As more payouts are required of insurance carriers, the rideshare companies they insure incur higher costs, which per Uber results in higher rideshare fares for consumers.
It really does.
So I haven't shared this information yet. I shared that. So I got into an accident about a year ago. You guys know about that. The lady is suing my insurance company, or Lyft's insurance company. And I do have an itemized, like, I guess, bill of why they're suing. And what they're saying here is true, because lawyers know that there is $1 million liability policy. That's what they target every single time. So I'm gonna see if I can pull it up real quick before I show you. Like, I'm gonna show you the breakdown, but I'm gonna read what the other part says that I can't show you. It says, my client demands payment of the bodily injury policy limits of your insured, which is $1 million. Once you have an opportunity to review the enclosures, please contact me within 14 days so that we can hopefully resolve this matter. So I don't know what they've done, but let me show you the breakdown of what they're claiming she had to go through in an accident where her car was barely scratched. All right, so they're claiming $15,000 in money was spent between health clinic, physical therapy, health imaging, urgent care, primary care, radiologists, medical centers, right? They're claiming all of that she had to spend money on. And I assume she has receipts, probably. Maybe the lawyer talked her into going doing this. But like, I have seen crazy stories where, like, you've even seen the ads where people are just like suing because they know there's a mandated policy. And because of that policy, and because Uber doesn't want to take it to court because it could actually become more expensive, they just settle. And that's affecting the insurance premiums. So I'm sorry, guys, I'm affecting your insurance premiums, but only because of how it's mandated and how people are taking advantage of the system.
LA-based Uber driver Stephen Hanks says the situation is not only hurting the bottom line of passengers, but also drivers like him losing out on business.
There's definitely a slowdown. It costs more for everyone.
You'd like to see the state leaders do something.
I would absolutely love to see state leaders do something about it. People use Uber for the necessities, and you know, that price has gone up.
And we reached out to the Capital City Trial Lawyers Association and other similar groups about any possible opposition to Uber's campaign, but we have not heard back as of news time. Reporting at the state capitol, covering local news that matters, Eitan Wallace, Fox 40 News.
I hope this spreads. I hope that drivers start jumping onto this conversation in a way that matters. I need a huge favor from you guys. Double check to make sure that you're subscribed, and please give this video a like. As a thank you, here's a sneak peek into the next video that you should definitely watch. We're rolling out exciting changes to the Lyft Rewards program based on your feedback. Here's what to expect. Simplified requirements to qualify. Just meet 4 goals and you're in.